Hey, everybody. Tonight we're debating Israel versus Palestine, and we are starting right now with Ben's opening statement. Thanks for being with us, Dr. Ben Burgis. The floor is all yours.
Thank you. So I know we have very limited time for these openings, but I just want to quickly sketch out why I don't think my country, which is of course also Steven's country, should be supporting Israel. Not in general, and certainly not right now, while Israel is committing really jaw-dropping crimes against the civilian population of Gaza. I have a problem with the last several decades of US-Israeli alliance because I think Israel is an apartheid state, and it's bad to support apartheid states. I realize that apartheid is going to sound like hyperbole to a lot of people's ears tonight. Silly radical leftist stuff. It's probably an exaggeration. But I think it's a simple fact. Israel has ruled over millions of West Bank and Gaza Palestinians for 57 years since Lyndon Johnson was president of this country without giving them citizenship. During some parts of that 57-year period, there's been some level of pretense that this was a temporary military occupation, not a long-term absorption of the territory. But now that pretense is long gone. Israel's current prime minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has said over and over again that there will never, under any circumstances, be a Palestinian state. In other words, we're never, ever going to leave, and we're never, ever going to give you guys equal rights. We're just going to keep ruling over you as rightsless non-citizen intervention until the end of time. That's the explicit policy. And of course, even decades before Netanyahu first took office, Israel was building cities of its own citizens on this allegedly temporarily occupied land. Between 5 and 10% of Israeli Jews, depending on which numbers you believe, live in West Bank settlements, about 500,000 people. And what there's been since 1967 has, in essence, been a single apartheid state from the river to the sea. Israeli settlers in the West Bank are considered for every legal purpose to live in Israel rather than living abroad. They vote in Israeli elections when they're accused of crimes. They're tried in real civilian courts, not military courts. Their Palestinian neighbors lack all of these rights. And that's the West Bank, where the form the occupation takes is positively soft compared to Gaza. Nobody is dropping 2,000-pound bombs on tent cities full of terrified refugees in the West Bank. Ruling over a huge non-citizen population for decades inevitably leads to a dynamic of dehumanization, where the inevitable resistance, some of which, to be sure, takes forms I find morally indefensible, is met with increasingly brutal forms of collective punishment of the entire population. So after the most extreme right-wing government in Israel's history took office a couple of years ago, 2023 was the worst year on record for settler pogroms against the non-citizen population in the West Bank. And at the same time, the US and Israel were pushing a strategy of regional normalization at the expense of the Palestinians, which would have taken away the last card Palestinians still had in their hands, which was the nominal solidarity of surrounding Arab states. And unsurprisingly, as the pogroms against West Bank Palestinians were happening and these diplomatic moves were playing out, eventually the more militant of the two main Palestinian factions responded with some atrocities of their own on October 7th. And since then, Israel has responded with atrocities against the entire population of Gaza, the part of Palestine where that faction is concentrated, on an absolutely brain-melting scale. More children have died in Gaza in the last 9 months than in all the war zones in the world for years beforehand. Millions of people, that's 85% of the civilian population, have been displaced from their homes at gunpoint. That's not collateral damage. That's not an oops while you're trying to get to 30,000 Hamas fighters. That's not war as hell. What do you expect? That is, at the very least, ethnic cleansing. And even if I didn't have a bigger problem with my country backing an apartheid state, I'd certainly have a problem with it providing 2,000-pound bombs and diplomatic cover while it carries out crimes reminiscent of what Slobodan Milosevic did in Kosovo and Bosnia. And now I'm curious to hear from Destiny about why he disagrees.
Thank you very much for that opening. And we're going to kick it over to Stephen Indeed. Want to say, folks, if it's your first time here, I'm Dr. James Coons. I'm your host. We appreciate you being with us at Modern Day Debate. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, whether you're watching here or at Stephen's channel watching live. With that, we're going to kick it over to Stephen. Thanks for being with us. The floor is all yours.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of this conversation is probably going to come down to disagreeing over actual facts of the matters about any of the claims that are usually levied towards Israel or Israel's treatment of Palestinians inside or outside of Israel. In terms of why the United States should support Israel, I think there are a host of good reasons. I think that Israel is a good trading partner for the United States. I think that Israel is, for all of its faults, of which there are a number to point at, I think that Israel is a beacon of democracy in the Middle East compared to every single surrounding country, very easily. I think that the standards of living that people in Israel, including the Palestinian citizens of Israel, enjoy, and Israel's adherence to things like rule of law, I think make it a special country in the Middle East. And I think that these are ideas and things that are worth championing for the United States. I think that Israel as an ally in the Middle East provides like a level of stability to that region, and it provides a good military entry point to the United States. It's good access from the Mediterranean to host ships, host I guess whatever else we would need to from that country. Hopefully, nothing major in the future. But I think that Israel is also a key strategic ally in terms of intelligence that they collect on U.S. enemies, especially Iran. And I think that Israel probably serves as a good partner for countries like the United States in conjunction with Saudi Arabia against the Iranian axis of Iran and Syria and kind of Iraq. I think that if you care about rights of Palestinians that exist in Israel, I think that it's even more important for the United States to be seen as an ally for Israel, because I think that the United States has been an important partner historically for Israel to push them towards peaceful settlements of issues. Without the United States as a partner, I don't know if Israel would have the same motivations to even consider moving in those directions. I think that the United States also provides an important restriction on Israeli military actions. For some reason, people seem to repeat the rumor that they feel like Israel's army is not conducting itself in a way that's adherent to any rules of law. If you think that, you only have to look to the north, to the east, or to the south to see that there are far, far, far worse ways to conduct war that is probably standard for the region. And Israel very clearly operates far above and beyond any of the norms set by any of its neighbors, including the ones that they're fighting right now. And I think that without any kind of alliance with the United States, I think that I think that Israel would conduct itself probably in a far harsher manner, and I think it would be worse towards everybody in the region, anybody that you'd want to protect. So, yeah.
You have been watching free public content from Give Them an Argument. To access every single episode of the show, the main show on Monday nights, all of the streams, all of the debate breakdowns, all of the patron-exclusive postgames on Monday nights, all of the patron-exclusive bonus episodes every week, and much, much more, go to patreon.com/Ben Burgis. I cannot resist ending this with, don't be foolish.